Yo, so Rental Family. This is the brand new film from Mitsuyo Miyazaki, otherwise known as Hikari. Okay? So, he writes the film along with Stephen Blahut, and she directs it. The film is produced by also Hikari, along with Julia Lebed. We then have Eddie Weissman, Shin Yaguchi. It is co-produced by Rita Walsh. And then executive produced by Stephen Blahut, Brendan Fraser, Leonid Lebedev, Oren Moverman, Jennifer Semler. Associate produced by, we have got Yazuki Morikawa, Mio Sekiguchi, and Haruna Yushikawa. There is line production from Tomo Koizumi. We have John for Bergeson and Alex Sommers on the score. Takehiro Ishizaka handles the cinematography. Alan Bergerton and Thomas A. Kruger edit the piece, with Kai Karamura and Yumi Takadaya on casting. Production design was handled by Masako Takayaya and Nohorio Izadoa. Tomoko Kotem Kimori is art direction. Meg Mokaziku is costume design. Hair and makeup, we have Tom Omi Ari, Hiromi Momoose, and Natsumi Nigorakawa. Right, and on is Suzu Yazuki Sekita, Masuki Sugahara, and Yoji Takasuski. Oh boy, I'm butchering these names. Okay, so the car. I've got where to start? I guess, yeah, right. Vander Plague is played by Brendan Fraser, right? We have Shinji, the owner of Rental Family, played by Takehiro Hira. She also works at Rental Family. She is played by Mari Yamamoto. We have got Kota, who is also at Rental Family, played by Kimura Bun. There is Maya, right? Maya Kawasaki, right? The young girl, played by Shannon Mahina Gorman. Her mother is Hitomi. She is played by Shino Shinozaki. Another, client is Hikari Hasegawa, the retired actor, played by Akira Emoto. His daughter, Masami, is played by Sei Matobu. Right, we got the first client from Rental Family that Phillip helps is Yoshi Ikeda, played by Misato Morita. Right. Lola is played by Tame Ando. Yeah, I think that's our main group of people. There's more, but I can't any more names, people. Right? The gist of the film, set in modern day Tokyo, we follow an American actor who struggles to find purpose until he lands an unusual gig. Japanese rental family agency, playing stand-in roles for strangers. As he immerses himself in his clients' worlds, he begins to form genuine bonds that blur the lines between performance and reality. Confronting the moral complexities of his work, he rediscovers purpose, belonging, and the quiet beauty of human connection. So, yeah, that's the film. And, as you may know, right, I tried to watch this during last year's London Film Festival. And that was a bust because, right, the crazy thing is they didn't list it had subtitled, right? So I go in, it is. I come out, I ask for audio description. And then that 20 minutes for it. Go in, doesn't work. It's a complete mess. The crazy thing is, I figured I'll wait, right? It's a Searchlight film. I'll wait for it to jump on Disney Plus. And then I'll be able to watch, get through all the subs, right? When I've watched it, this film is basically subtitles. There's not much in it where it's just, in English. And the English you usually get is it starts in Japanese, a little bit of English, back to Japanese. So to list this film as no subtitles is bonkers. It is crazy. It really is. Like the film itself, like it's a nice film. It's heartfelt. You know what I mean? Obviously, right, we have these messages in here, right? Of longing, loneliness, connection, right? Just all of these different things. And it's done nicely. I'll definitely say that. It's done nicely. Our cast is great. They do very good performances, right? I definitely think you go hats off to little Mia, right? It was Shannon Mahina Gorman. She is really, really good. Just display that emotion from the little girl's point of view, So the cast is great. All of these things work. And Japan they've definitely had crises with loneliness and people forming connections, right? I remember seeing a thing, and I think it was just after lockdown, or it might have been just before, which then you just think, oh, lockdown made it worse. But people marrying avatars, right? Because of fear of rejection, trying to form human connection is difficult. So it's just like, oh, I'll just marry this thing. So the idea of something like rental family makes sense. I mean, it makes a lot of sense in so many different cultures. You know what I mean? Because there's so many things that you don't want to, people lie to their family about, right? Their friends about, all different things. So, you know what I mean? This isn't a crazy concept or anything like that, you know? Maybe these agencies do exist. I don't know. But as an idea, you know, it all works, right? It all works. Now, the thing that is a bit, you know, is Phillip, right, and him being at the agency, right? This is something that isn't necessarily discussed because he's you know, struggling to find work at the moment, but he has done a big toothpaste advert, right? That's all over the place, and he's done TV and other things. So he's out there, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's just like if you've got someone who is kind of recognizable, how can you have that person pretending to be, you know, these other things? Because someone would be like, wait, aren't you the guy from the toothpaste advert? You know what I mean? It would just be that, or, you know what I mean? So that was a weird one that never is asked or raised, which I was just wondering watching the film, like, yo, what about that? Right? So we have like that's an issue. I mean, in essence, this is kind of a white savior situation again, which is kind of frustrating. You know what I mean? Because it's like the people working at the agency don't get, you know, the impact of, you know, what the work could also be doing for people. And it takes Phillip to come along and be like, it can do this. And they're like, oh my God, yes, you're right. You know? Which is nuts. Which is nuts. Right? And there's this thing during the first job, right? He brings this moral nonsense into it. And I'm like, I mean, firstly, you agree to do the job. You know what I mean? You agree to do the job. And he, which doesn't get explored, you know, he visits prostitutes, right? Whatever. But why? You know what I mean? Because sometimes you feel like he's longing for a connection with Akio or, you know, Mia's mum. And so you're just like, okay, if Philip needs, you know, wants, wishes for a larger connection with someone, why prostitutes, right? Why isn't he trying to explore something else? You know what I mean? Which is interesting, but it doesn't get explored, you know? So you have those kind of aspects of it. Now, the other thing about the whole connection with clients, it's something that you can definitely understand, but as an actor, like you would feel that you have the ability to circumvent that, right? Because playing certain roles opposite people, you know what I mean? Whether it's like they're your kids, your best friend, you know, your girlfriend, your wife, whatever. You're building a tight connection. You have to be believable in that part, right? So in essence, you're building the same kind of connection. So how do you stop yourself from, let's say, falling in love with every woman who's playing your wife, right? How do you stop yourself from doing that? right? That should be the same thing he brings to this new situation. You know what I mean? I just think I wish those kind of ideas were explored, because then it would just, I think, elevate it slightly more. You know what I mean? It would really, because as I said, it's a really well done film. You know what I mean? You can see the heart in it, the emotion, just all of these things. You can definitely feel that. We have some great performances. But just the notion that Phillip is waking everyone up to the pitfalls of what they're doing is a little crazy. You know what I mean? That's the problem. I feel it's a little crazy. Right? So, yeah. I mean, there's other things, but we can't really talk about them because it might spoil the film. So, yeah. I mean, I'm glad I watched the film, you know? Definitely glad I watched it. I thought it was, as I said, done really well. It's just there are aspects of the story that I think could have benefited from more, right? I think it could have helped really just put things into better context and give more depth to some of the characters, you know. But it is available now on all your favorite VODs, SVDs, all of that jazz. Yeah, so people, you know, it's a nice film. So yeah, if you want something feel good and all of that, you might want to check out Rental Family.